feet.
Yeah.
Are we begging? No, you can't see my feet.
I know some dudes that don't take no socks for sex either. Like, yeah.
Oh, I had that happen yesterday.
Let's do mic checks. So I'll say the color of your mic. Just say mic check or something funny with 2 syllables. Red.
What's up? I'm Red.
There we go. Orange.
Mic check.
Yellow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. So I'll do 3, 2, 1, and I'll start playing the music.
Okay.
3.
Yeah, big talking brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here. Crack a cold one, we're on the air. Big talking brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here. Crack a cold one, we're on the air. Kicking back,
Hey guys, welcome back to Big Talking Brewskis. I'm Marissa Smith. I have Rodney Daniels with me.
What's up, guys? Time for Big Talking Brewskis.
And we've got Neruda Williams with us.
Yo, what's up, man? Yo, that's new song. Is that you spitting, Rod?
No. This song has been on for like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been on the podcast.
And the song is definitely been,
times.
maybe not the first time that you were on, but like definitely it's been on like at least the second, third time that you've been on.
But I feel like depending on what
Alright.
segment you're on, sometimes they like play it, sometimes they don't. Like,
Right.
it
I don't
depends.
think I've heard it when I was in the thing, and I know I'm sorry. I fast forward to my segment on everybody's.
Of course.
It's like, when do I
It's all about Neruda.
When do I talk? I'm talking now. That's
my
what I'm
story.
listening.
Was my story compelling?
Do I sound good? So Neruda, how have you been? How's happy birthday?
Oh, thank you.
Like
Appreciate it.
I saw you recently at the Pear, and it was your birthday.
Yeah.
Like, how have you been?
I'm okay. It was crazy though. Like, so you were there that night.
Yeah.
I went to do a spot. Shout outs to Tate and everybody at Grizzly Pear. And it was my birthday. I was working out stuff, but I had done a set that, I mean, I got laughs or whatever, but you know when you didn't murder. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
You
so I've been working on stuff about my kid, and I don't go that personal usually. So I was just in my head about it, and I was like, you know what, I want to go home and just kind of work this thing out. And also, you know, it was my birthday, and I didn't want to be too drunk out. And that was a specific thing, right? I was like, yo, let me chill, because I know everybody's going to buy me drinks. I got money. I'm going to buy drinks. Like, you know, let me chill, and I want to work on this thing. So I get on the train, and I'm like, in my head, I'm playing Scrabble, and I'm like listening to the new Cardi B, and I'm like just enjoying my birthday, right?
We're going to
Like,
go back to that.
right, yeah, we'll talk about it. Just enjoying my birthday, and then, like, you know how like the A, I take the A or the C, and I'm on the A. It's going local. You know, the homeless dudes are crazy. It's basically, you know, just a cavalcade of homeless crazy, right? Just walking through the thing. And so I just ignore it or whatever. And I think I was ignoring it, and then the dude like walks right up to me, and he snatches my headphones out of my ears, like my white like iPhone, right? And so I look up, I'm like, what the fuck? And we're pulling into J Street Metro Tech. And then you just say the bing bong and the doors open, and he did that. After thinking about this for the last couple of weeks, he did that to distract me as he snatched my phone from my hand. So I look up, I'm not holding my phone as tightly. I'm like, what the fuck? He snatches the phone. I chase him onto the platform, and then like on some Warner Brothers shit, like going around the benches or whatever. And then finally I catch up to him. We scuffle a little bit, and he got the best of me. Like, but. The thing is that like I didn't have like a busted lip or a black eye or anything, so it wasn't like he beat me, but like he got the best of me. He got on top of me, and we were on the steps, and he stomps my left arm that I was defending myself with on the steps, and it breaks in like 3 or 4 places.
Okay.
I broke my radial and my ulna, and then he you know scurried away, you know, and.
And you got away with your phone.
And he got away with my phone.
And your headphones.
And my headphones.
Fuck.
And which is why I couldn't call you, for instance, just now.
Right.
So I'm in shock, right? Like I'm freaking out. I've never broken a bone before, and like you know I've been in fights, and I've survived them all. Like and with no like. You know, you've got a couple cuts and scratches and bruises, but you know you're fine. You know, but I wasn't fine, and so I'm kind of going through shock, and I'm like screaming, and I see these 2 cops, and I up above the steps, and I wave them down, and they were actually arresting some other kid. And look, I'm nothing easy to deal with just in regular life. But like, I'm pretty sure when I'm in shock and I'm screaming and I just got robbed, I am no easy person to talk to. And so I'm like yelling at them, and I'm sure I said some horrible things, because I hate going to cops, like, you know what I mean, like that's
right.
Like, that's
And
like,
you're an excruciating man.
right. So it was a lot for them, and I would never give cops excuses because I don't. But at that moment I could see how that was an overwhelming thing for them, these two guys. And they got me an ambulance though, even though I was like, "Fuck you guys! I'm just gonna go home. Police ain't shit. They don't do nothing for you." Because I'm thinking you guys are not calling anybody on the radio. And I'm like, you're not going after this guy to get my phone back. And I'm
right.
Like,
where were you when I was getting my ass beat? Right there, like right there.
Yeah, you arrested some kid for hopping the turnstile.
Up the front, up the stairs, and like somebody's getting their ass beat. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, and it's a whole commotion. So finally, the ambulance comes. I go to the hospital, and they are prepping me to set it, and they give me like ketamine. I go into a fucking K-hole, which is a very scary drug.
Why did they give you ketamine?
I think I was just out of control. They needed to put me out, and it feels like you're in one of these in your head, right? And so,
damn,
I fucking I'm like flipping out. It's like 2-3 in the morning, Marissa, and two terrorism squad cops walk into the hospital room.
Get the fuck out of here.
They cuff my hand to the bed and shackle my feet and tell me I'm now under arrest.
For what?
For stabbing someone.
What?
Right.
With what hand?
Right.
My arm is broken, motherfucker.
Also, I'm a comedian. I just came from my birthday show. Like, what are you talking about? This is so. It's
But
turning into
how
a
is
nightmare.
stabbing
And I'm
a
still
terroristic threat?
Dude, so I'm still high, and I'm on this thing, and they're telling me this. So now I'm in a fucking nightmare. I'm like, this can't be real. And, like, I start to freak the fuck out, right? Like, hyperventilating, just going through a fucking panic attack. And they tell me that there was another person on the platform as we were chasing each other, and that they got stabbed in the leg in an artery, and that they were bleeding in the hospitals closer, and they got off around World Trade Center or something. They were going, I don't know where they were going.
Wait, they got stabbed on a platform, then got onto a train, and
right.
What the fuck does that have to do with you?
What the fuck?
So apparently, the cops showed them my photo and asked, was it me who stabbed them? And I think in the scuffle and everything, they don't know who is who. They don't know what. It's just two black men, And so they pointed me out basically because I was there. And it turns out the guy who did this to me had pulled a box cutter to try to slash me during the fight.
And cut someone else.
And dropped it while I was defending myself. Which I guess is also why he panicked and broke my fucking arm.
Right.
And yeah, so then I had to,
but
as
a question,
sure.
Like a procedural question, if you were to stab someone and cut their artery, wouldn't you have their blood on you when you went to the hospital?
Right.
So by the mere fact that when they went to go arrest you and they didn't see any blood splatter on you, wouldn't that mean that, like, and the fact that the cops are the ones that brought you to the hospital, obviously you didn't have time to change, so it's not like you're changing your clothes. Like, wouldn't that just from a procedural standpoint alone just mean, like, this is not the guy?
This is the thing, is that, this is
you're just black in America. I got you.
Right. But also, like, there is that. Because, I mean, on top of that, I went to the police office. I don't know how many guys are just, going
you're
on
just stabbing someone willy-nilly,
and then being
and
like,
you're
hey,
just
cops,
like, yeah.
help me out.
Because if I stab somebody,
it's like, so I just stabbed this bitch and someone broke my arm.
Ignore that.
Like, bring me to the hospital. Where's my phone?
That doesn't happen. No.
And then on top of that, them taking my photo.
You didn't even do anything. You wanted to, like, not talk to them in general.
Right. And then, them taking my photo and then showing my photo, they just assumed my guilt and my suspicion. Like, they just made me a suspect. They didn't put me in a lineup. They didn't have a photo of this other guy. So there's no comparison. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You just made me the guilty party, and so I'm freaking out. And then I had to go into surgery for this, and then I go into emergency surgery, and they keep having cops and detectives come into the hospital room and ask me questions, this and the third.
And this whole time, are you locked to the bed?
I'm locked to the bed.
So how
my
many
God.
hours or days are you locked to the bed?
It was about a day and a half.
Okay.
It's about a day and a half. And
So
then
it's like, like maybe with like 30 hours or something like that.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm discharged from the hospital. And instead of them then releasing me or bringing me a lawyer or anything like that, they then booked me for this. So now I had to go to Central Bookings in Brooklyn with a broken arm and no pain medication because according to them, they can't give you any drugs while you're in their custody. So then that was a whole day of just going through processing and going through Central Bookings and going through holding and then being in the back of the courthouse until like 11 p.m. to see a judge. And then finally, the lawyer that I got from, Lawyer's Aid or whatever the thing is, he was actually really good. And then he was like, yo, this is totally a case of misidentification. And he totally understood. And he I still have to go to court for this stuff, though, right? And, like, I still have to go to physical therapy, and I still have to pay for, thousands of dollars in surgery and all types of shit.
But
and I still don't have a phone.
Like, what do you have to go to court for?
I have to go to court now. It's, the follow-up for this
Yeah,
thing.
because
Like, it wasn't like, oh, yes, this is a misidentification, and, like, the
No, they
case
didn't
is
just.
dropped?
No, they didn't do that.
No.
So, like,
There's
are
the
you,
prosecution.
are you, like, indicted for this right now? Or is,
No.
like, what's
I'm out on bail, though. But
You're out on bail
because
for it.
they have charges against me.
Okay.
right? And now the prosecution is trying to see if they can gather enough evidence to build a case to say that I'm the guy that stabbed this person.
And then it goes to grand jury?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, then I can ask for it to go to grand jury, if I was guilty of it, I probably wouldn't want that. But, I'm fucking going to testify and be like, this is insane. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I mean, so that's why I want to talk about the false imprisonment thing, and particularly what happened to this other guy. His whole life was ruined. But
Right. So there was a case of and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there was a case of the first person to be arrested for being a black identity extremist. And
what is a black identity extremist? Right.
you're black and you're proud.
Right.
anybody who grew up with a black mama, like,
Right.
It's like, well,
I got two black parents. Like,
like, what do you?
can I comb your hair easy? No, you're black identity extremist. Like,
my first dog's name was Shaka Zawadi.
How many times
so
have you
now
seen
we're
the
all
Princess and
being
the Frog?
followed by the FBI. Thank you for Shaka Zawadi. But so now this guy, he was the first person that was arrested and followed by the FBI for being a black identity extremist. And essentially, the FBI started a profile on him based on rallies that he went to. He went to anti-police brutality rallies and posts that he did on Facebook. And
That's
so
insane, man.
and this is why I don't go to rallies, you guys. But like, and so they were trying to say that he was a domestic terrorist because on Facebook he had said when in the Austin shooter that had shot the cops that they deserved it, and so for saying that they deserved it, that made him a radical extremist of the black identity sort, and the FBI started profiling him and watching him and eventually arrested him for domestic terrorism, although he had no plots. When they arrested him, they could not find a plot or a plan to attack any facility, to attack any particular group or anything like that. And they said that he was also a black gun rights activist.
Which should be great. I mean, I thought they love guns. I thought we all supposed to be.
Oh no!
Good guys
We
with
can't
guns.
have guns.
No, because
we're never
automatic-
good. We're not good guys.
We're automatically bad guys.
We're
right?
bad guys. We're if we have a gun, we're a bad guy with a gun.
Yeah.
So yeah. So he was a pro. Which if he was in Montana or something and had all these guns and was pro gun, like he's a patriot.
What state was this happening?
Austin, Texas.
Oh.
Which you would think Austin, Texas.
You would think that would be like that's
progressive.
real progressive for guns, at least. I feel like,
but I think
not
that's-
our guns,
Right.
But yeah.
And I think that's another reason why he was targeted too, was because from what I read, he had started an organization specifically for informing and training in self-defense black gun owners, right? Showing you how to get your permit, showing you how to legally purchase, showing you how to legally carry
they don't want to
or
know
conceal.
that. They don't.
Yeah, and so they don't want us to know that.
No
They
one
want
wants
us
to know
all
that.
to be banging
like
ass,
reading.
illegal gun, illegal gun carrying. They want easy reasons to put us away. And that's the biggest
Right.
thing about the marijuana thing. It's not just pharmaceutical companies that obviously don't want you to grow some super medicine in your home, but it's also the fact that it's an easy lockup. Like, you know what I mean? Catch a dude smoking a dime bag that he didn't get with his cannabis card, and Gucci, we got another body in the system. You know what I mean? And once you're in the system, they keep you in the system.
You
know
stay
what I mean?
there.
You know what I mean? And it's a greedy income stream for the state and for these departments.
And this is kind of like, and I know that I'm being petty when I say it, and I'm well aware when I'm being petty.
Are you being petty?
It's okay.
I can be petty sometimes.
Fuck it.
But this is where I have a problem with the quote-unquote opioid crisis in middle America.
Right.
So you have grandma, grandpa, father, son, granddaughter, grandson, all strung out on opioids. They have a disease. You have somebody sitting on 125th Street smoking a joint and they're a criminal.
Right.
Or if they were doing crack back
Shooting
in the
up heroin.
80s.
Right now it's a lot of heroin.
Or like whatever, like K2, whatever it is that they're doing. If you're in Harlem, you're a criminal. If you're in Milwaukee or fucking Arkansas,
72nd Street.
Right.
20, 30 blocks away.
you
Right.
have a disease.
You have a disease.
You have a disease.
But if you're uptown,
Right. If you're in the projects, you're a criminal.
Yeah.
you're a criminal.
Yeah.
And so now that people are talking about like decriminalization of marijuana, here's my question. If we're going to decriminalize marijuana, are you going to release all the people that were nonviolent that were arrested for marijuana from jail?
No.
I think that it should be an absolute
I think
yes.
yeah, but
Absolutely. Just because these people are nonviolent offenders. They haven't done anything against society.
Right.
But they're dealing marijuana, which people need.
right.
Like, that's like a need for people.
Even before all of this medical and corporate mumbo jumbo, it was a need. Motherfucker,
Right.
you walk around the city of New York. I took it for granted until this happened, but I was on autopilot that crazy happens, and I gotta just deal with it, right?
But how were you on autopilot is because you smoke marijuana.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So then you get home, and I think about it, how my niggas smoke weed. It's not like we just smoked it to like do everything. You smoked it after you did something. You smoked it to calm down. You smoked it to chill, and it was
To make you not snap out at
Right.
certain times
And
as
it-
well.
Right, and sometimes you smoked it before something big so that you had some calmness, and it was always medicinal way before. I'm gonna say it. White folks got involved, like, you know what I mean. Like, but they like to twist it, like, oh, we discovered all of these properties. No, you didn't. That's not. It was always this.
Right.
You know.
And when you think about the harmful effects of marijuana versus like alcohol, which has like been legal for like almost 100 years now, like that breaks down your body completely
Right.
and can kill you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you smoked weed every single day,
You'd be fine.
you'd be fine.
So you had a question though.
Yeah, so like this is my petty point. Now, granted, I believe that if we legalize marijuana, that all the people that have been in jail should be released because they were unlawfully imprisoned.
Mm-hmm.
However, that being said, all of these people that have been unlawfully imprisoned over the last half a century will I think would be able to sue all the municipalities, the state, the federal government, and bankrupt most municipalities, and rightfully so.
Sure, but even if that didn't happen, there is
but
still.
they should be able to because their life has been stolen, and they
Sure.
need to be made whole.
Sure.
And they're never gonna get that back again.
Right. So there's two things here. One, I agree with both of you. Do I think it should happen? Yes. Do I think it will happen? No. But this is another thing. Even if it did happen, whether or not they sued or not, there is still now you have, you know, I'm from the hood. Like people that have been institutionalized for a certain amount of time. That doesn't leave you. Doesn't leave your shoulders. That doesn't leave your mind. And there's a PTSD that happens that it would be unhealthy for the society. It would be unhealthy for the communities that they're going back to. And I love my friends who are and I hate to call them reformed, but you know what I mean, like who are doing well right now. And I'm not shitting on getting your life together and being able to get a second chance when you get out of prison. But I am saying that a huge influx of that, you know what I mean? I think it could be unhealthy too, because I know that the experiences that you have in those type of systems,
And a lot of times it criminalizes a person that,
Right.
you know, if
if it hadn't been for that, he wouldn't.
they wouldn't have been a criminal. And so I think that part of that making them whole is kind of bringing them into the industry of
Yes.
of pot.
No, I do think that would be dope.
You know, because it's a product they already know. It's you know, it's a product that they already have dealt with, sold, used, whatever. And it's a cash crop, really.
Right.
But my thing is that if this doesn't happen, if these people aren't freed or aren't released, then we need to stop this bullshit about opioids being a disease.
No, I totally agree with you.
They're criminals.
Yeah, they're criminals.
And you know something? I've never heard of someone on pot ODing at the wheel of their car, crashing the car, leaving an 18-month-old in the car for 6 hours with 2 dead parents.
Right, no.
I've never heard of that.
No.
And I'm kind of sick and tired of listening to, like, oh, you know, we've got this opioid epidemic and blah, blah. No one makes you shoot heroin. And no one that has any sort of cognitive abilities thinks that shooting heroin is a good life choice.
Right.
Like, you can't, you're not going to kick that. It's not like, oh, you know something, I'm going to try it once and I'll never do it again. It's not like creme brulee or fucking sushi. It's like, no, like when you do this, like, this is your life now.
Yeah. I mean, look, when in the hood, you know, there was a huge thing of like 30s, 40s, at least in Harlem. It was 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s was a huge heroin epidemic, right? If we want to use that word. And then they had these methadone clinics, right? And you can see them on 25th Street in certain parts of the hood. And what methadone was basically just heroin. But
legal.
But legal. But you had to keep coming and getting your fix, you know, and then they would cut you off and they would try to wean you, but it still was not actually a solution, right?
Right.
This opioid epidemic that's happening in the Midwest and happening in these gated communities are people abusing their prescriptions, not being able to get anymore, and then switching. Like, that is a whole nother level of privilege that is not happening when it comes to the black heroin addiction. And like the black heroin addiction is kind of like you were just like force feeding it. You put it in the community, number one, because I don't know how many black groups of chemists were developing heroin, meth, and crack cocaine.
Right.
This is something that was obviously brought into our communities. And then when it took us over, you gave us a substitute. You didn't try to find a solution. It wasn't an epidemic. It was just these niggas are fucked up. And now with this opioid shit, it's like, oh,
it's a disease.
It's a disease.
You have to have compassion.
Right.
These people are sick.
But
they shouldn't be in jail.
But there's no acknowledgement of the fact
Fuck
that
them. Go to jail.
Sure, but these were inspired by abuse. Like, these were inspired by people that were taking advantage of a system. These were inspired by the people that had health insurance and were cut off from their fucking Percocets and Vicodins and
because they lost their jobs because they were addicts, and
Right.
then their health insurance like fizzled out,
Right.
and they no longer could get prescription drugs. So
Right.
then they went to heroin. I
Right.
have no
and prescription
sympathy.
drugs are super expensive on the black market. You know what I mean? Adderall is like $30 a pill. Like, you know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense at a certain point for you not to do, you know what I mean?
Street drugs.
Street drugs. Yeah.
It's like I really truly don't understand it, and part of having non-violent drug offenders being in jail is a part of this whole for-profit prison system
Right.
that you're creating jobs for a lower middle class so they can feel like they're doing a little bit better than their parents did, and so now they're the COs like
Sure.
in a prison, but then those group of COs can send their kids to college so they can feel like at least their kids got a step out.
And I don't know how many times it's happening. Like, look, my baby mother's father was a captain at Rikers, and he was a great man. I love him to death. I don't think he was an abusive CO. I don't know, but I don't think so. He seems like a very sweet man. And even people that I've known in the hood who've had to go to Rikers and deal with him say that he was always
Reasonable.
Fair.
you know what I mean? Fair is
Yeah.
the best you could say in there. I mean, it's a
Fair.
zoo. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So fair is the best you can be. You're never going to be a good CO. I mean, it's not going to work. But you're not going to give respect like that. But anyway, so, I think at the same token, though, how often is that the example? Like, I mean, I just read recently some dude with a dirty dick was, like, raping women in his section. And then, like, one chick was like, it was huge and beautiful, but it just smelled putrid, and that was the horror of it. But I would have been all over it if it didn't stink. And I'm like,
What?
right. She was a prisoner, and she, but he's abusing his power. And I think that's most of these guys. That's most of these women. That's most of the people that work in these type of jobs. Are people
Right.
that,
And he had a stanky dick.
and he said, but he liked that. He liked not cleaning himself and
It was
forcing
like a
them to
degradation.
go down on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if he'd have been brought up on charges if it wasn't for that. Like, I think he.
like,
It was
That's
just
fine.
like, oh, he's
If
got
he
a
had
fine
washed
dick,
that
but
dick.
it stinks as
yeah, but
shit.
but it's about the
It's
abuse.
like that dick smelled like green.
It's about the torture of it.
Oh God, are you making somebody suck that like
Right.
cheesy dick?
Right. He's disgusting, and he's fucked up, and it's because they're prisoners, and it's because they're women, and it's because he doesn't have
And he's a
any
CEO
humanity.
and he's a masochist because
Right.
that's what they all are.
Most of them,
Like,
yeah. And so I wonder how many of them are going into this job talking about, I'm going to save money and take my kid to college. I think a lot of them go into, especially CO, maybe not cop, but especially CO, go into it just for the masochism, just for the.
I think they do it for like the white welfare,
Sure.
which is the pension.
Yeah.
And this is where it's gonna sound weird, and I'm kind of, because like my dad is a cop. I come from a long family of law enforcement.
That's right,
And
yeah.
I'm not really a pro union, because it's like my whole thing is this: why am I going to work, busting my ass every day, to have you watch me every day what I'm doing because you think just because the color of my skin that I'm
Yeah.
doing something illegal? My tax money is paying for you to go abuse other people that look like me so that when you turn 65, you don't have to do shit in the rest of your life, and I'm still paying for you, all of your ex-wives. Because, like, when they have a pension, all the ex-wives
Right.
get money. I'm paying for you, all of your fucking ex-wives, with my money so that you can make my life a living hell until you thought I was not threatening until the age of 65.
And it's the protections they get when they do abuse their power, or when they do abuse the badge, or when they do abuse the uniform. It's like, okay, this guy did this. There's so many people saying they did this, but that you have the union rep, you have the captain, you have the higher ups, you have a bunch of motherfuckers just trying to protect this motherfucker's badge or this motherfucker's uniform. And it's like, but wait a minute, this guy is the one that's in the most power in the entire situation, and
Right.
if he's being abusive,
Yeah.
he's the one who needs the least protection. And I'm getting passionate now, but it is.
No,
No,
'cause
it's
a
fine.
passionate situation.
The oppressor can't claim to be the abused. They can't. And I just feel like that whole system, if you want to have a for-profit prison system in the middle of the country because our jobs are shit, the factories are closing up, you can't have farms anymore, whatever, you know something? It's your turn. You have a whole bumper crop of criminals shooting up heroin, stealing from old ladies, all across the Midwest, 3 generations at a time. You want to have a 4 prison system? There you go. It's your turn. Yeah. You're not sick. These people are not sick. I've been on opioid medications because I've had like herniated discs and I had to go to pain management. You know something? You take it until you don't need it and then you stop.
Right.
I've never even like done Molly. You know what I mean? It's just like
because you've never done Molly before. And, you know, or cocaine, like, you
I've never done any of this shit.
Right.
I have.
Right, exactly. Like, you don't know, like,
but you're also not a heroin addict.
Right.
Right.
And also, I didn't abuse the Percocets and Vicodin I got from there. I weaned myself off at the end of the week because it's just... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right, no, because we're not, because we don't have... Well, first, we don't have the luxury to do it, but, like, we don't have, like, an addictive personality, which is, like, different than like some people.
I
don't know. Well, I love to drink and smoke weed probably more than I need to.
Exactly.
I'm just saying that my addiction isn't privilege and abuse. My addiction is having a good time, right? And so you know, these housewives and the kids of them who are stealing their meds are all trying to ignore their privilege. They're trying to ignore this gated community. They're trying to ignore...
Because they know they're shitty and they want to try to hide from their shittiness. They're trying to
ignore misogyny, ignore racism, ignore the realities of what's really going on in society.
They should have voted for Trump.
You know how you do that? You get a whole bunch of downers and you shoot them and you swallow them. And that's the easiest way to ignore life. Now, when you smoke weed... You might get a little down, but it's still you're still there.
But some people's addiction is power.
And some people's addiction is power, sure.
That power trip that's like right there when you know that it's stinky dick. Yeah. You can have that stinky dick and you can do whatever you want with it and they can't say anything about it. Like they have to take it.
Yeah, and
that's a high that comes with that.
I think so too, and I do want to add one more thing. Like you talked about the automatic fear of the black man. What's interesting about that, going back to that article, is that the statistics in that were like that 75% of police officers who are actually shot are shot by white men.
Yeah,
that's what you should be afraid of, guys. Guys, get out there and shoot white people. Stop with us, man. We ain't trying to shoot you. Like honestly, we running from you. We are running from you.
Oh, even when we got guns.
And we get shot.
Like,
you might not even have a gun. You might have a cell phone.
You might have a cell phone.
Or
you don't even
shower
reach
head.
for that.
Right.
That's the thing, and I think that people, usually of non-color, don't understand is that when they say, and I've unfriended like friends that I've had since I was 10 years old just because they're like, well, you know, like they should have listened to the police. Unfriend. Like, here's the thing. Statistically, cops are shot by white men at 75%, which means that 25% is cut across all people that are not Caucasian. Right. That means Latino, Black, Asian, Middle Eastern, South Pacific. Like,
so when you start cutting into that, like, what are those real percentages there? I mean, it's
right. But because the police departments are racist, the FBI can follow me, but I have no guns, so like, whatever. So the police departments hire scared racist people, and then they internalize their fear to think that every black person is this sort of mighty mythical creature that's a Bigfoot, that it's like, oh my god, they were so big. It's like, dude, they were 5'7". It's like, how is 5'7" big?
150 fucking pounds.
It's like, oh, they were massive. They could pull a phone book apart. It's like, dude, he wears a size 28 waist jean. Like, what are you doing?
I tried to ask the cop. I tried to ask the cop when I was trying to eat and when I was trying to pee. I tried to ask the cop. I was like, dude, why am I also handcuffed? I'm like, I have a broken arm and you have my feet shackled. I'm like, I can't even reach over to like drink juice or eat anything or like rub my arm. I can't do any of that. I'm like, why do you have me handcuffed? I'm like, dude, you are a 6'5" dude. Like, if you get beat up and allow a broken arm shackled, like,
Use a pussy.
Yeah, not even just. I mean, I don't. Whatever.
Right.
You shouldn't be a police officer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can't handle that, you know what I mean? If you allow me to get the best of you while I've just had surgery and I'm shackled by my feet, I'm like, why can't you just?
And on like ketamine.
And on ketamine,
Right, like you're already
on all types of things with the IV, whatever they put in me. And I'm like, if that's the case, dude, then you shouldn't. If this is how afraid you are, you shouldn't be a cop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should be working in a florist office. You should be, making paper mache cards or something. Like, you shouldn't be carrying a gun. You know
Well,
what I
this
mean?
has also always been my argument to people that say, like, oh, well, they're afraid because they don't know at any situation what might happen.
Sure.
So if you
mean-
take, let's say, and we're talking like raw data, we're talking statistics, women on average, as a gross means, are typically afraid of aggressive men. This
Right.
is just across the board, across all women, across whatever sort of training that they've had. Now you take that and you say that the number of fatal shootings or shootings in general by police officers done by women versus men.
It's probably mostly men.
It's probably 95 to 97% men. Now, however, in daily life, women will have a shed of fear when you get into an elevator with a man you don't know, because you're saying to yourself, he could be a rapist. But this is something that we deal with every single day with every single man that we don't know, that it's like, it's possible he could be violent. This is our life every single day. We don't go about shooting everybody that, like, makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable because we're like, something.
Right.
Every dude we don't know kind of makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little unfair to say, this guy's a rapist. Like, I don't know, he hasn't tried to rape me yet, but let me keep my eyes out.
You're gonna say something.
that's the whole thing, is that's your life every single day.
Right.
Like, men don't realize like what it's like to be a woman in
Right.
America. Just period. That by
Right.
itself, that's your life every single day.
Right.
You can get raped at any single time.
Right.
At any single time.
You know what's so real about that dude? Like, I chased this dude and we fought. You know what I mean? Like, and my first instinct was, I'm not gonna be punked. And I've been into many fights, and like, I grew up in Harlem, so I had this weird fake monkey on my back, where it's like there's some dude that I'm gonna have to talk to about getting punked. But I'm a grown ass man, and there isn't anyone I have to answer to. So that's just in my head. But I chased him, we fought, boom boom. But I swear to God.
But if you were a woman, your reaction would have been completely different.
And this is
completely different.
Right, and this is what I'm going to say to support that, is that since it's happened, though, I've had to rethink all of that. Since it's happened, though, I thought about the fact that I didn't know he had a blade, and let's say this other guy didn't get in the way, and he actually got that handle on the blade to cut me, I could be dead. I just had to really think about, is it worth being a tough guy for a phone and lose your life?
Right.
Or even fucking break your arm. I'd actually, I'm sorry, Auntie, but I'd rather be dead than have to deal with this fucking arm shit. Like, you know what I mean? At least then I don't have to feel pain. This shit hurts and it's uncomfortable. It's hard to sleep. Yeah, I had to cancel multiple shows. Like,
You've had to deal with that.
and now every day, sometimes I don't want to leave the house. Like, I've never lived my life in fear. I grew up in a very tough neighborhood. I've never been scared of any man, and I'm scared of black men right now.
That's because that PTSD is real. Like, people like act like it's like not a real thing, but like PTSD is like a real thing.
and
You go through some shit.
and how I'm so sensitive. And so
I know.
this shit just took it up a notch, and it's like everywhere I go, I'm just a little bit more hesitant
Cautious,
and
yeah.
cautious, and I will never know how a woman feels, but I do know this has changed my whole outlook on everything. Like, you know what I mean? I know damn well I'm never fighting no robber or chase. I'm never doing this shit again. I don't even know. I've been contemplating whether or not I even want to fight anybody again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think call me pussy, whatever you want. Like, this should kind of change the way I go through life.
And I think that it will, and it makes sense that it does. And I think that if you can find any sort of silver lining in it, and I'm sure there's not many, but if you can, this event is introducing you to who you will be in the future. But you have the very real possibility of deciding who that person is.
Sure.
So like now you're at a crossroads where you were this young man that was fearless, that, you know, was just like to quote Point Break, young, dumb, and full of cum.
Sure.
Like you know what I mean? Like it was just like you had the world by the short hairs.
Just
And
saying,
now-
chasing motherfuckers, I never would do that shit,
Right.
like, ever.
And now you're an
It's not
older
good,
man
though. You're smarter than me.
that has more things at stake. You've got a daughter. You've got
Yeah.
you know,
I
you've
mean,
got
all
a
that-
career, and you've got these things that now you're starting to question. Like, I have things in my life that I care about, and these things mean more to me than my pride.
And also, I'm not fucking Mike Tyson. I'm
Right.
not some fucking Nino Brown. And these are the symbols that are put in black men's heads at a young age, and that you have to live up to in order to have friends, in order to exist, in order to
Right.
survive. And it is important, I think. But at the same token, there's a point where it hits its arc, and it can become a detrimental part of my personality. And what I'm saying is that this is to say that the very small increment of what I'm experiencing is magnified if I was a woman who had to deal with this
Right.
every single day.
Yeah.
And so that's the reality of it. And the reality of it is that if these female officers aren't quick guns, aren't quick draws, then what the fuck
What's going
is
on with these
this-
guys?
Right.
This is exactly my point. It's that, like, I literally walk through life every single where I've been in an Uber, and the Uber driver's just like, oh, so like, where are you going now? Like, this is kind of late for you to be working. Do you have a husband? Like, are you expecting me to invite your ass home? Like, what
Yeah.
are you trying to say? And that's just supposed to be acceptable. And I can't say anything to him that I want to be like, motherfucker, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm the one paying you. You're
Yeah.
my bitch.
'Cause anything can happen.
Because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And so, like, I think that everybody kind of needs to realize, like, this life is fragile. And
Yeah.
and the fact that you are experiencing that, I don't think that you should look at that from a negative perspective. I think that you should look at that from a perspective of you are of another stage of your life where you're no longer run by machismo.
Yeah, I mean that's easy to say. It's easier said than done. I mean,
Because
I do
this
get
is
that.
your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Like this
yes.
has been like your life, and now you
Yeah.
have to understand that you're in like a new phase, and that means you're older and that you're more.
I've had to ask someone who I really care about, a woman in my life. She's had to bathe me. She's had to roll up for me. I bought us a bunch of like disposable stuff, like plates and stuff, because I couldn't wash dishes. Like I can't even wash dishes. And it's like, I know that sounds like whatever, but like it's just like not being able to even contribute in your own life and having things. And this is temporary. So I mean, I feel bad for people that are, you know, differently abled who have to deal with this every day. But
Right.
the emasculation is like when I'm walking with her, I'm feeling fear that I never felt before for myself. And then on top of that, now I'm walking with her, and I've never let her know this, but like, you know, in my head, thinking, shit, if somebody does some wild shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, get us
Right.
both fucking killed. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just these things, and then the thing happened to you rushes through your head again. So then you get another rush of fear, and so then you have to like kind of figure something else out to think about, and then you keep walking, and you just try to make it back home. It's crazy. And then you know I'm at
PTSD.
right, and I'm at my house, you know, and you know I need her to do so much for me. And you're right. Like, yeah, think about it as a positive is a great way to think about it, and I think I do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm college educated. Like, I understand. You know, but there's still a level of depression and a level of inadequacy and emasculation that you feel. That I just can't control. Like it's just
No,
there.
and you can't expect yourself to because it's
when
going
something
to
like that happens.
Yeah. And I hate to leave us on this.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like I just left us on a
Pow.
But the inspirational point is that you were in a crossroads and you're finding your new steps.
Yeah.
So like that is the inspirational aspect of it. But before we close this down, where can everyone follow you? Where can they find you on social media? What do you have going on?
At Naruto Care Bear, I think on Instagram, and the Blackjack Kerouac on Twitter, without a C in black, I think, and Naruto Williams on Facebook. I'm doing a show of a sketch show that I'm writing and acting in. I think it's the 24th of June at Magnet Theater. And then I'm always on shows, so follow me and you'll find out about all that. And I do want to say, like, this is I'm not in a bad place. Like, I'm okay.
No, I don't think you are.
No, you're not. No,
Yeah.
you're good. Everybody goes through shit.
It was a growing experience, and it was just one that, like, I'm glad I got to talk about it on here, and I think I had another booking for another podcast next week. So this is therapeutic for me, because I've just been, like, kind of in the house. So I want everybody to know, like, I'm fine. Everything is good. It's just a different version of Neruda that's kind of coming out of its cocoon.
Neruda's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. He is fine. He's all under the pops and macadamia nuts and Mai Tais, like, internally. Rodney Daniels.
What's up, you guys? So I'm super excited because my spinoff podcast by myself, just talking some gay shit, is coming out on Monday. Every Monday coming up for the next 4 weeks, you're gonna hear about some gay shit. So super excited about that.
I was actually worried because I was like, oh, fuck, we didn't get to gay dating and that whole part. I took it all over.
Oh, no. We did that with the other guys.
Yeah. I have a show at Boxers on June 17th. I'm going to be on the JDBL show on June 19th. All my handles, Rodney Daniels, everything, Instagram, Facebook. Marissa Smith.
So you guys, you can follow this show on Twitter and on Facebook. On Twitter, it's at Big Talk and Brew. On Facebook, it's at Big Talk and Brewskis. Follow me on Twitter at Marissa Smith. Also, check out my other podcast, Blame Storming. You can follow us on Twitter at The Blame Storm. And I am also going to be on the same show with Rodney at Boxers. And
same week as Pride is about to be lit.
I know. I'm super excited. I guess I'm an ally now, you guys. But take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And always remember, if your aspirations are to be a fixer for the treasonous president of these United States, pay all of the porn stars in cash. Have a good night.
Right.
Love it.
He's such a fucking idiot. He's on that. I'm sorry that this was such a sad one, but I enjoyed
We
it.
need those. It's fine.
It wasn't sad at all.
It wasn't sad. It was just like
some
real shit. You got beat up.
Right.
I wouldn't want to talk about anything else if I got beat up. Yeah. Like, yo,
I was
this
like,
shit happened.
yo,
I'm gonna drop this one early, just because. I gotta pee. I will be right back.
And also, people keep asking me, and I'm like, it's not a fun story. People will think it's like basketball or skateboarding, and I'm like, it's not a cute, fun story. And
No,
so
because
I'm
like
this is where I would
You
tell
just
the
want to
story.
tell them
when,
that because
on Facebook, when everyone's like, "Where's Naruto? Where's Naruto?" and like in my head, I was just like, I saw him on his birthday. He probably was just like out doing birthday shit. And then it was just kind of like, oh no, we found him, blah blah blah. And then like you kind of like posted like, oh, like I had like an accident. And I was just like, oh, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
But like, you literally were totally like
Yeah.
I've seen you
You've
off.
seen me wasted before.
Yeah. And you were not. You were just kind of like, hey, hey. I'm like, you were totally fine. And so, like, I was just kind of like, I wonder what happened there.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go to the restroom.
All right, I'll be right back.
Hey, buddy, we didn't meet. I'm Neruda.
Hey, what's going on, Butterfly? Nice to meet you. Crazy story.